Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Uh, well, it's really inspiring to see a whole community coming together to protect our forests. It's really wonderful. I'm going to talk tonight just for a few minutes about a key subject that I know is on a lot of people's minds, which of course is fire. You know, the logging industry and Cal Fire are trying to convince the public that they're doing these logging projects, these destructive logging projects in Jackson State Forest and in forests all over the state and in the West, that they're doing these supposedly to save the forest from fire and to save communities from fire. That's what they're trying to tell the public. That the damage to wildlife habitat, the destruction of Native American sacred sites and cultural sites is being done supposedly to save us from fire. So I want to talk about that a little bit. We've learned so much about fire in our forests over the last 10, 15 years in particular. Of course, Native people have been doing cultural burning in forests for thousands of years. We've had mixed intensity wildfires from lightning strikes for many, many, many millions of years. And entire plant animal communities have evolved to depend on fire. Fire is as natural and necessary in our forest ecosystems as sun and rain. And logging is not saving our forests from fire. And it's not curbing fires. And it's certainly not protecting communities. But I want to talk a little bit about a couple of key aspects of this that come up a lot. The logging industry claims that if they remove trees from the forest, somehow that's reducing fuels and it will somehow stop fires. Here's what the science is telling us. A dense forest with a lot of trees, has a lot of cooling shade from the forest canopy cover. And everyone here, of course, this is a forested area, and people know when you walk into an area of mature forest, you walk into a redwood forest, you feel it immediately. You feel the coolness, you feel the moisture in the air, you feel all of those things, and that's exactly right. The canopy cover is creating a microclimate that is cooler, shadier, moister. But when logging occurs, when a lot of those trees, or most of those trees are removed, you've got a hotter, drier, and windier microclimate. It completely changes things, and it actually makes it more conducive to rapid spread of fire and oftentimes more intense fire. Logging is not curbing fires, it's not stopping fires. It's actually making fires burn more intensely and more rapidly, oftentimes toward vulnerable towns. And of course, we saw that tragically in 2018 with the Camp Fire in Northern California, where in the first 6 hours, the fire burned through some of the most heavily logged areas in the entire state of California. Commercial thinning, post-fire logging, all of it done supposedly to save the communities from fire. At least that's what the logging industry and the agencies told them. Cal Fire and the Forest Service, they said, hey, we're reducing fuels, we'll save you from fire. And that's the area that the fire burned through the fastest as it raced toward town. And so what we're learning is, we don't need to be afraid of what fire is doing in the forest ecosystems. It's doing really good, important ecological work. It's creating some of the best wildlife habitat, including in the places where it kills patches of trees. That's some of the most biodiverse wildlife habitat in the entire forest ecosystem. The forests regenerate wonderfully, but we do need to protect towns. We do need to protect communities. And we know how to do that if we focus our resources on communities themselves and give people the resources, the support, financial and necessary, to harden their homes from fire, to do the defensible space pruning within 100 feet of homes, to have community evacuation plans and evacuation assistance, early warning systems when a fire is nearby, assistance to prevent unplanned ignitions near a community during fire season, fire-safe shelters with smoke filters, things that will actually save homes and save lives. And it's been proven that it's highly effective. If this is done, over 99% of homes can survive a wildland fire, and everyone gets out safely. The problem is that's not where our resources are being focused. The vast majority of our resources, the vast majority of our attention is being focused on logging projects out in the forest, in places like Jackson State Forest, where these areas should be protected. And instead, all those monies that are being spent and wasted on destructive projects should be redirected and help communities become fire safe. And so, in my view, a place like Jackson State Forest, in fact, all the state forests and state parks and public lands, they should be off limits to logging. We should be protecting these areas. And we should be holding politicians accountable. We should be holding Governor Newsom accountable, California State Legislature, and Congress, and urging them to protect these areas and hold them accountable in the media and in social media until they get it right, until they do it. And urge them to move away from these logging subsidies and redirect those subsidies into community protection. And we can do this. We actually have the power to do this. And I think this event tonight is a great example of people coming together and really raising their voices to make this happen. Thank you very much.